The distinction between consuming sugar in liquid versus solid form represents far more than a trivial matter of preference. Emerging research reveals that sugary beverages pose uniquely elevated risks to cognitive function through several interrelated physiological mechanisms that solid sugars largely avoid. When sugar enters the body through a beverage, the absorption timeline changes dramatically. Liquid sugars bypass the mechanical digestion required for solid foods, leading to rapid gastric emptying and swift entry into the bloodstream. Studies measuring postprandial glucose responses demonstrate that identical caloric loads produce markedly different metabolic outcomes depending on delivery format. A 150-calorie serving of candy requires chewing, mixing with saliva, and gradual breakdown in the stomach, whereas the same calories in soda form can trigger blood glucose spikes within 15 minutes of consumption. This accelerated absorption creates pronounced insulin responses that solid sugar consumption typically moderates. The pancreas releases insulin to manage incoming glucose, but the velocity of liquid sugar absorption can overwhelm normal regulatory mechanisms, producing what researchers describe as glycemic overshoot. These repeated insulin spikes, occurring multiple times daily in habitual soda consumers, contribute to progressive insulin resistance, a condition increasingly linked to cognitive impairment and elevated dementia risk. Satiety mechanisms compound the problem. Solid foods trigger mechanical stretch receptors in the stomach and stimulate release of appetite-regulating hormones, including GLP-1 and peptide YY. Beverages produce substantially weaker satiety signals despite equivalent caloric content. Research demonstrates that individuals consuming 150 calories through soda experience minimal appetite suppression and often consume additional calories shortly thereafter, whereas those eating 150 calories of solid food report sustained fullness. This phenomenon leads to what nutritional scientists term caloric overshoot, wherein liquid sugar calories fail to register adequately in the brain's energy balance systems. The cognitive implications extend beyond simple overconsumption. Longitudinal cohort studies tracking thousands of participants reveal associations between habitual sugary beverage intake and accelerated cognitive decline, increased ADHD symptom severity in children, and elevated dementia incidence in older adults. While correlation does not establish causation, the mechanistic plausibility strengthens these observational findings. Chronic glycemic variability and insulin dysfunction promote systemic inflammation, with inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein crossing the blood-brain barrier and triggering neuroinflammatory cascades that damage neurons and impair synaptic function. The practical implication proves straightforward. When sugar consumption occurs, solid forms offer meaningful metabolic advantages. The slower absorption, enhanced satiety signaling, and reduced glycemic volatility collectively minimize the neurometabolic stress that characterizes liquid sugar consumption. For individuals seeking to protect cognitive function while managing realistic dietary patterns, eliminating or drastically reducing sugary beverages represents one of the highest yield interventions available.